Footage has been released of the few surviving soldiers of the 155th Marine Brigade of the Russian Army, who launched an attack near the Nikolkoye village of Russia's Kursk region and lost a company of soldiers, evacuating their dead and wounded fellow servicemen. The Russian servicemen who filmed the footage said that they suffered a significant number of casualties and were unable to evacuate most of the dead bodies from the battlefield. They stressed that Ukrainian fighters were nearby. The footage also shows destroyed armored vehicles in the vicinity. It should be noted that the Russian military, who attacked with tanks with Soviet flags on them, were destroyed as a result of Ukrainian drone strikes. The Russian attack was unsuccessful.
200 и 300 тяжелых вынесли с первого рота. Амур мой братишка так и пропал. Нету нигде. Тяжелый пиздец. Это война, брат. Лесополки настоящие.
Ukrainian aerial reconnaissance units have intercepted and targeted North Korean soldiers advancing in an open field in Russia's Kursk region. Seeing the drones approaching, North Koreans tried to resist with their small arms. Realizing that resistance was pointless, they tried to escape, but were unable to do so and were destroyed as a result of kamikaze drone strikes. According to Ukrainian fighters, the Korean soldiers, who have been participating in the battles in Kursk for several months, are helpless against drones and mainly use a fighting style from an era when military technology was not yet developed. There is no point trying to negotiate with Russian President Vladimir Putin, Yulia Navalnaya, widow of the late Russian dissident Alexei Navalny, said at the Munich Security Conference on February 14. Navalnaya's comments come 2 days before the anniversary of her husband's death, which coincided with the launch of the 2024 Munich Security Conference. As US and Ukrainian officials gathered in Europe to discuss steps towards negotiating an end to Russia's war, Navalnaya warned against attempting to make agreements with Putin. Even if you decided to negotiate with Putin, just remember he will lie, she said. He will betray. He will change the rules at the last moment and force you to play his game. Days before this year's Munich Security Conference began, US President Donald Trump held separate calls with both Putin and President Volodymyr Zelensky. Trump called Putin first on February 12, saying later that the two leaders agreed that negotiations to end the war in Ukraine will start immediately. Trump has repeatedly promised to strike a deal with Moscow that brings about a swift end to the war in Ukraine. There are only two possible outcomes for any deal with Putin, Navalnaya said. If he remains in power, he will find a way to break the agreement. If he loses power, the agreement will become meaningless. Navalnaya, who has emerged as a prominent leader in the Russian opposition movement in the wake of her husband's death, spoke at a conference panel along exiled Belarusian opposition leader Svetlana Tsikhanouskaya.